Indiana is no stranger to severe weather, including tornadoes. 2024 was no exception. As a quick recap, last year we saw 57 confirmed tornadoes in Indiana, and was the second most active year for tornadoes since 2011, the strongest being a high-end EF3 tornado, which impacted Winchester, Indiana on March 14, 2024. This twister was on the ground for over 17 miles with an estimated wind speed of 165 miles per hour. Unfortunately, the twister left 37 people injured, with one fatality. But what about 2025? First, we need to take a look at our major climate drivers and the difference between El Niño and La Niña. Our broad climate across the United States is influenced largely by the patterns of our oceans and the atmosphere above them, which is why we call them our main climate drivers. Last year, our main climate driver was ENSO, which stands for El Niño Southern Oscillation. ENSO is a natural occurring cycle of trade winds and thunderstorm convection above the equatorial Pacific. Through this cycle, ENSO will switch between three major stages, which include El Niño, La Niña, and neutral. These phases can last for 6 to 12 months on average, but can last longer on occasion. On average, it takes 3 to 4 years to swing from El Niño back to La Niña. During an El Niño, trade winds along the equatorial Pacific break down or reverse. These trade winds are called the Walker Circulation, which is a natural occurring cycle of trade winds along the equatorial Pacific. These winds, when they reverse, cause warm water to build off the coast of South America and cold water near Australia. This can bring warmer and drier conditions to Indiana, like we saw in the winter of 2024, with above average temperatures and very little snowfall. La Niñas are formed when trade winds blow harder from east to west along the equator. The increased winds causes upwelling to occur, bringing up colder waters from the deep to the eastern Pacific, while also causing much warmer waters near Australia. During La Niñas, we are typically colder and damp, as the upper air circulation is very strong, helping to amplify the jet stream. But why is this so important for severe weather across Indiana? Last year, our main climate driver was ENSO. Remember when I said it normally takes a few years to flip from El Niño to La Niña? Well, during the 2023-2024 season, we saw a flip from a near record El Niño to a solid La Niña in the same year. These teleconnections led to an extremely active year for severe weather across the entire United States, including Indiana. In fact, it was the second highest grossing year for tornadoes since 2011, with a total of 1,858 confirmed tornadoes for the year. This is not the case this year. This year, we are in a weak La Niña, which is near neutral or average temperatures. During a neutral phase, the Walker Circulation or trade winds along the equatorial Pacific are stable, meaning weak teleconnections are expected between ENSO and the United States. This also means that ENSO will likely not be the main climate driver in this year's severe weather season. So what other factors do we have this year? We know that ENSO can affect our climate across the United States. However, there is another spot we must visit termed the NPO, or Northern Pacific Oscillation, which is a part of a much larger system termed the PDO, or Pacific Dichoidal Oscillation. Like ENSO, the water temperatures of the Northern Pacific can influence our climate across the United States. Last year, the NPO, or the waters across the Northern Pacific, were very warm, almost record-breaking so, which led to an amplified jet stream, and the combination of a rapid change from El Niño to La Niña and a very warm NPO helped drive our severe weather season last year. But that may not be the case this year, at least for the entire season. Currently, the waters of the NPO are still very warm. However, we are starting to see some colder waters move in from Asia. The cooling and displacement of the warming waters may have an effect on how amplified our jet stream is come mid to late spring. Let's take a break and recap what we've learned so far. We have learned that there are multiple climate drivers this year, including ENSO, the NPO, and also that ENSO may not be the main influencer this year like it was last year. This also means there are no significant signals for an above or below average year for Indiana. But before we give our forecast, there is one more factor we need to take a look at, and this factor is the Madden-Julian Oscillation, or MJO. The MJO is an important climate driver across the globe, while ENSO, the NPO, and NAO for the Atlantic affect our climate on a seasonal to yearly timescales, the MJO can affect our weather on a daily to monthly scale. This also will bring increased precipitation during those time periods. To help understand the MJO, let's explain it. The MJO is a fast-moving circulation of rising and sinking air which moves around the tropical areas of the globe from west to east in 30 to 60 days. When the MJO moves into the Pacific Ocean, or Phase 6 and 7, it can bring increased rain chances and severe weather chances across North America. Now that we have looked into these factors, it is time to release our forecast for the 2025 tornado season. This storm season will be reliant on numerous factors with no main climate driver being of greater influence than another. With that, there is no real indicators that strongly suggest an above or below average tornado season for Indiana. Here in Indiana, we average 22 tornadoes for the year, and our forecast is sitting at 23, which is close to average. With that being said, we also believe that this could be a wild card year, meaning that there are equal chances for an above or below average season. This is largely because of the multiple drivers that we have influencing our season this year. And remember, it only takes one event to push us above average. That concludes our severe weather outlook for 2025. We hope that you enjoyed this video and hopefully learned something along the way. We will see you next time, and be sure to follow Indiana Storm Chasing Network for more videos and up-to-date weather information.